lots of times the problems that I deal with a professional singer would be somebody who's been doing 8 shows a week for a long period of time. It's very easy to get into maybe not the best vocal habit, so you have to figure out a way how to rehabilitate them while they're still doing the shows. Usually if I have a student who's working on Broadway and it's a demanding role, I will advise the more rest you can get, the better. Don't run around when you don't have to. In the case of usually nobody is so bad that they develop nodules or anything like that. But very often it's just a tweaking this way or that way in a certain direction. I've had a student who's worked with me now for 20 years, and he's been a leading name on Broadway, and always sees me when he has something on the boards. So we got together last week because he was doing a big concert that was being videotaped for Channel 13, and he had some things to sing that he hasn't had to sing that high in public for a long time, because as he's gotten older, he's been cast in lower voiced roles. So we sort of needed to get the muscles used to moving back up to the upper regions of his voice. And after a couple of sessions, it was beginning to feel like the old voice again. And then he sang the concert with no problem. You have to diagnose it. You have to be able to prescribe for it. And for me, it's always, the more I know about the person and the way they think, the easier it is. Because I think for me, I need to get into their head. Because if I don't know how they're thinking about it, I can't help them change their thinking. Because the only way to make somebody change a habit is to change the way they think about it. And if because it's one thing to say to somebody, do this, and they'll do it for you if they can. But they won't do it when you're not in the room if you haven't appealed to them in a certain way. So for me, I think it's really important to find out who they are. And, the more you can know who you are and how you function, that to me is the power. Because when you go on a stage, you don't have anything, you don't have the instrument in front of you, you are the instrument. So that means if you're really tired, that'll come out. If you haven't eaten or you're coming down with a cold, it's going to take its toll out on your voice. Yelling, singing too high, too long, with not the proper breath adjustment, carrying for ladies, carrying their chest voice or their belt voice too high without learning how to mix comfortably and healthfully. Lots of times I have had to repair sopranos that because they wanted to do a show, or their high school did a show where they had to sing Audrey in Little Shop. And Audrey's very much of a character that's up there anyway, and if their voice doesn't do it, then they usually can will themselves into doing it. And then you have to have them rest, and you've got to take them back in and work easily and methodically and be very, very careful how you put the pressure back on the instrument.
They have to heal first.
Exactly. Because a nodule is basically a callus. Now, in the life of a violinist, their fingers are calloused because those are the fingers that go against the strings. But for a singer, they're deadly, because when there's a callus there, the chords don't come together. And it's all about the chords coming together as easily as possible while the air goes through. So you have to wait for those calluses to subside. When for the guys, if you work out and you don't wear gloves, you get calluses right in the palm of your hand. If you take 6 months off, I can guarantee you those calluses will go away. It's the same thing for a singer, only you don't want those calluses. So hopefully you learn a way to sing so that doesn't happen.